Yuji is now an equal in power and took pity on his life. From the train station where Yuji asks Sukuna to follow him, they pass through various locations from Yuji's childhood, such as the park where he played and got hurt, to even when he lost his slime in the drain. Each memory is within a season of the year: summer, winter, autumn, and spring. Sukuna claims he's experienced this before. It's a rare occurrence when connecting with a sorcerer during the height of battle, but it feels different. They begin exploring the city, which, mind you, is Kitakami City, where Gege Akatami, the author, his hometown, is from. And the demon sword dance statue Yuji points out is Onikenbai, who have a Buddhist enlightenment dance representing a reincarnation of Buddha in their performance. Each moment has significant importance. Think about the flowers on the street. Yuji calls it a morning glory, while Sukuna corrects him saying it's hydrangea. These flowers vary, having different representations for each, linking to Buddhism and Yuji's enlightenment. Blue hydrangeas symbolize gratitude and forgiveness. Pink ones symbolize love and sincerity, whilst purple ones symbolize the act of getting to know someone better. All three variations of the flowers are portrayed within this chapter, as Yuji's nature is the amalgamation of all these traits, and he is going through a major personality change that I will delve more into. However, let's not forget, the philosophy of the flower is also linked to chapter 236, where Gojo talks to Geto in the afterlife. He states that a person can make a flower bloom and admire it, but you can never make a flower understand you, which Yuji is trying to do with Sukuna. Now, although Sukuna knows about the names of all these flowers through Megumi's memories, Yuji is asking these questions to try to identify a human's role in society, as he asks who decides the types of trees that are planted by the streets. As we move on, Yuji tries to get Sukuna to experience an average human life like his own, as he views the brat as having no value, even highlighted by his statement that he didn't waste time reading through Yuji's meaningless drivel whilst inside his body. Yuji takes Sukuna fishing, showing him the farm he went to as a child, and some casual archery, which the king proves to be good at, considering he belongs to the time period when archery was prevalent. Now you might be wondering, ABD, why is Yuji doing all of this? Just take us to the domain expansion already. Well, this is important, as till now, the strongest of every generation has tried showing Sukuna love in their own way, but failed miserably. This time, the strongest of this generation, my boy Yuji, is doing the same, just in his own way. The average human would go through this sort of life with people they love, and Yuji is trying to make Sukuna understand compassion. But just like the rest of us, Sukuna is confused about what Yuji is trying to say. But his nephew finally reveals he no longer thinks like a cog in a machine, and he's trying to search for an ounce of humanity in Sukuna to see if he can understand his point of view on the value of life. Yuji remembers all the dead people he loved who have left a curse upon his shoulders playing their role, ranging from his grandpa, Gojo, and Nobara. Yeah, she ain't coming back. Yuji explains that his mentality has changed. Before, he believed it was important to fulfill the role of a cog he was given. If he died with that philosophy, he would have accepted it as a good death. But now, everything has changed. Yuji believes that every human being can have a role of their choosing, and it can be anything from walking the dog to making a family. But let's say your life is even less than that, consisting of eating, shitting, and sleeping, or being completely bedridden like Mekomaru was. Even that has value, as that didn't stop him from loving Miwa, adding that his only wish is for her to be happy no matter how she does it. Miwa cried and mentioned that friendships must be considered a disadvantage for sorcerers, as they often die, and those close to them have to suffer afterwards. But as Todo taught Yuji in Shibuya, looking for meaning or logic in death can at times defile the memories of those we've lost. This led to forming a connection that will leave fragments of memories floating off the deck, and these hold meaning. Yuji claims that even if someone wasn't capable of achieving any connections and died forgotten, they still hold value in the fragments of memories. This is the proof of existence itself, because those fragments, even if it is smaller than the memories that shaped it, still become a story. It doesn't matter if anyone reads it, it is still written. Yuji's interaction with Todo and Choso illustrated this. When false memories were shared to them, though they weren't real, it still represented something that was. In turn, it created a new chapter in their book that they valued. So, at the end of the day, Yuji is trying to highlight that everyone's story has intrinsic worth, even if some people have huge shoes to fulfill, whilst others have smaller or none. That doesn't mean they shouldn't cling to life for being weak, as Sukuna claimed in chapter 214. Now, throughout chapter 265, Yuji attempts to make Sukuna empathize with the beauty of life and humanity's ability to soak it all in. Yuji went through his whole childhood, the beauty of the summer air of the town where he lived, the feeling of snow on his face with the childlike innocence of the world not yet down on him yet, the fun of playing in the park in the playground with the toys he just got. Yuji wanted to show Sukuna this to try and make a last-ditch effort to convince him that life is worth living for, and just senselessly tearing down for your own goals and pleasures doesn't work. That the people around Sukuna are not tools, but they also deserve happiness. That life is beautiful.
It's enough to make a grown man cry.
But you might not have noticed this, but Yuji's message plays as a double entendre, as Megumi is hearing everything Yuji is stating. He has given up on the world since his sister's death, but his life still holds value if he doesn't think so. Yuji can save him and they can continue living with whatever role he would like to choose. It doesn't have to be a sorcerer. Then we come to the crawfish scene, which holds significant value, where Yuji challenges Sukuna to catch one. When they both succeed, Sukuna states he has won because his catch is bigger, but Yuji rebukes him, saying his is rarer. This interaction pointed out how Sukuna thinks bigger means stronger and better, whereas that's not necessarily always the case when it comes to value, as rarer fish are worth more and cost more. Beauty and value are in the eyes of the beholder. Sukuna personifies a natural calamity with overwhelming aggression in this chapter. He's not human, he's not cursed, not even an animal, but more like a fucking beast. We literally see horses bonding and showing affection through instinct, but even still, Sukuna can't feel anything or even understand the beauty of the world that a normal person would. As a result, Yuji tells Sukuna outright that he doesn't like him. Humans are not tools, so their roles cannot be determined from the start. Morality and the idea of good or bad don't really take away a person's worth. So to Yuji, Sukuna still has some value and hence wants to strengthen his resolve before he takes his life. But to enjoy more peak fiction, watch this video regarding Rimuru's wife, who is Ciel, and what are her powers in Tensura.